Carlos Alcaraz and Sinner define their relationship. We don't go out to dinner together. Jannik Sinner and I have a great relationship. Obviously it's not something personal, but I think our relationship off the court is very positive, said Carlos Alcaraz again ahead of the Barcelona Open Bank Sabadell about his personal relationship with Jannik Sinner and their fight for world number one, which is led by the Italian after defeating the Spaniard in Monte Carlo. It's an interesting battle for the top positions, but I think both of us are clear that the important thing is to keep improving constantly. Sinner is one of the players who makes me a better person. He helps me understand my weaknesses and what I really need to focus on in every training session and in every match, he said, noting that if he wins in Barcelona he would recover the world number one ranking and surpass Sinner by 10 points. Alcaraz: it's fantastic to have Sinner as a role model, but I won't miss him this week. Carlos Alcaraz, who already won the Barcelona Open Bank Sabadell in 2022 and 2023, said before beating Otto Virtanen, world number 119, that it's fantastic to have Sinner as a role model and to see him achieve all the goals he is achieving. But honestly, I won't miss him this week. The truth is that Jannik Sinner and I have a great relationship. Obviously it's not something personal, we don't go out to dinner together, we don't have lunch together, but I think our relationship off the court is very positive. I think he has an excellent team and great people around him. He himself is fantastic. Regardless of what we can do or what we are fighting for on the court, I don't think our way of being off it will change. And I think that is reflected in the mutual respect we have for each other, he said in words reproduced by Tuttosport. Carlos Alcaraz did not hesitate to talk about Sinner's viral jump from a diving board after beating him in Monte Carlo. Sinner's jump in Monte Carlo? On my way to my room, I saw him jump into the pool. I stopped to admire that moment and record it. I think it's also a great way to show the world that, despite everything, despite the great rivalry that exists on court and fighting for the same goals, we can be good people and have a great relationship off the court, he emphasized. The new life of Carlos Alcaraz without Juan Carlos Ferrero: I can have an opinion, I can decide. The world number 2 has explained how his life has changed after parting ways with the man who had been his coach since his early days. After withdrawing from Barcelona, Madrid, and Rome, and with doubts about whether he will make it to Roland Garros, Carlos Alcaraz appeared this Tuesday on the official podcast of the Mutua Madrid Open. Among other topics, the Mercian spoke about what his current life and routine are like after breaking up last December with Juan Carlos Ferrero. According to the world number 2, with Samu Lopez, his new coach, he has gained more freedom, especially off the court. Now I more or less have a say. I can give my opinion, I can decide, I can communicate what I need and when I have to stop and when I need to train, he explained. In addition, the winner of 7 Grand Slams emphasized that he has reached a higher level of maturity in recent months. I had many ups and downs in which we had to learn a lot. Before, pressure and nerves could get to me. Now I take it much more naturally, much more calmly, enjoying myself on the court, he added. After his split with Alcaraz, Juan Carlos Ferrero begins the conquest of China. The Valencian expands his tennis academy with a new Asian headquarters. The international expansion of the J.C. Ferrero Tennis Academy adds a new chapter in Asia. The project led by Juan Carlos Ferrero has begun operating in Shanghai, where it is already active through agreements with different local clubs while progressing toward the creation of its own academy in the city. Ferrero presented the project in China. The initiative was presented during Ferrero's visit to the Asian giant, in a move that reflects the ambition of the project, to replicate in China the comprehensive model that the academy develops in Spain. The plan includes building a center with sports facilities, a residence, and academic training, with the goal of offering a complete environment for the sporting and personal development of young tennis players. In this first phase, several coaches trained at the academy are already working on site, focusing both on player development and on training local coaches. The structure will grow progressively, consolidating the project's presence in the country and expanding its reach within Chinese tennis. The expansion is supported by the business groups Act Sport Technologies and Guanyu Sports, strategic partners with experience in the sector and a clear commitment to the development of the sport in China. The collaboration is not limited to Shanghai but aims to promote tennis nationwide through new initiatives. Among them is the creation of a tournament structure linked to the academy, as well as the organization of clinics and training camps in different cities across the country, reinforcing the spread of the working method that has earned the project international prestige. This step forward comes at a time of transition for Ferrero within professional tennis. After ending his tenure as Carlos Alcaraz's coach at the end of 2025, a relationship that marked an era of success and established the Mercian among the world elite, the Valencian coach appears to have doubled down on developing tennis from the grassroots level. Carlos Alcaraz cast doubt on his participation in Roland Garros. I prefer to come back a little later and come back well. After receiving the Laureus Award, the Mercian prioritized his physical health over defending his title and drew attention across Paris. The tennis world received a cold shock ahead of Roland Garros. During the Laureus World Sports Awards Gala, where he was honored as the best athlete of 2025, Carlos Alcaraz raised concerns by referring to his physical condition and the real possibility of missing the French Grand Slam. The Mercian, who last year won the title after an epic 5-hour battle against Jannik Sinner, was clear about his current situation. "If I push myself at this Roland Garros, it could harm me a lot for future tournaments, so we'll see how the test goes, we'll rely on that." Despite the mystique surrounding the Paris tournament for Spaniards, Carlitos seems to have learned from the injuries that recently kept him from the top. "I prefer to come back a little later and come back well than to come back earlier and come back badly. You have to take care of yourself because a tennis career can be very long," he concluded, making it clear he will not risk his body if he is not at 100%. According to the Spaniard, his priority is to focus on recovery and return to competition as soon as possible. "Right now the main thing is to recover, train well, and compete again." Given how close Roland Garros is, starting on May 18, Alcaraz's situation seems critical. His participation is seriously in danger. At present, the chances of him missing it are higher than seeing him compete on the Paris clay. The world number one has just said something about Alcaraz that really caught my attention. And it's not what you expect. Jannik Sinner was present this Monday in Madrid for the prestigious Laureus Awards Gala, an event that brings together the biggest stars in international sport each year. The Italian, current world number one, attended with a relaxed and approachable attitude, despite knowing he was not among the favorites to win an award this year. Nevertheless, his presence did not go unnoticed, and he was one of the most sought-after tennis players by the media on the red carpet. The recent champion of the Monte Carlo Masters 1000 took the opportunity to speak with reporters and, as expected, one of the main topics was the situation of his great generational rival, Carlos Alcaraz. The Mercian is going through a delicate moment after getting injured in his debut at the Conde de Godó, a circumstance that has raised concerns ahead of the upcoming major events on the calendar. Alcaraz appeared in Madrid wearing a visible brace on his right hand, which showed the extent of his physical issue. In addition, the player himself admitted he could not guarantee his participation in Roland Garros, which begins in about a month and where he is defending his title. This uncertainty adds even more tension to the clay court season. In this context, Sinner did not hesitate to show support for his rival and fellow tour player, offering words that reflect both respect and sportsmanship. "Right now Carlos is going through a difficult moment, so we hope to see him back on court soon, maybe in Rome." The Italian went further, emphasizing the importance of competing against the best. "When you want to win, you want to do it by beating the best in the world." These statements highlight the healthy rivalry between the two players, who are expected to define an era in world tennis. Beyond the competition, Sinner made it clear he wants to see Alcaraz fully recovered as soon as possible, both for the good of the sport and for the challenge of facing him at the biggest events. The 2026 Mutua Madrid Open seems to be under a spell of misfortune. While the organization was still processing the impact of Carlos Alcaraz's brace and the absence of Novak Djokovic, a new chill has swept through the courts of the Caja Mágica. Jannik Sinner, the man who has dominated the start of the season with commanding authority, has raised alarms after his latest training session on the main court. What was supposed to be a routine practice alongside the Argentine Thiago Tirante ended with an image no one wanted to see: the world number one complaining of a sharp pain in his left shoulder. Under the attentive gaze of his technical team, led by Simone Vagnozzi and physiotherapist Andrea Sapala, the Italian completed the session, but his visible discomfort when finishing his serve was a sign that the wear and tear of a hectic start to the year has begun to take its toll.